Hey, what's up, guys? I've got three knives I'd like to show off to you today, all made by GEC. Uh, got the 57 Geppetto Whittler, the Schrade Fire and Ice Trapper with the red bone, purple sage bone, red bone. Then I got the 15 Huckleberry Boys knife with the clip blade and the pin blade and the rust red bone. So I'll go in order of how I received these. So first GEC knife I ever had was the Whittler with the Warren clip blade. So checking it out, you'll see that purple jig bone, more of a brown, which is good because I like the darker scales. Check out the other side. It's nice and comfortable in the hand. Nice little Warren clip blade you can use for almost any conventional household chore or what have you, opening packages. They make them with a clip blade, but you know, I try to be a little different with this purchase. Back springs on this are about probably a 3, as they are now. I mean, if you check them out, they're not huge, so you're not moving a whole bunch of steel. Like, these are probably a 2, this is a 3. I mean, they're just smaller, so it would make sense. But, you know, I still feel safe using the knife, and it's never stopped me before. You have your 2 secondary blades, a coping blade and a clip blade. I myself am not a big coping blade fan. I have heard guys say that they're really good for just general tasks, but you know, I found that the Warncliffe takes care of most things that you need to do with this knife, and the clip blade takes care of the smaller, finer chores. So I didn't really have a lot of use for the coping blade. Now, I don't know if I already said this, but both of the secondary blades have half stops, whereas this one does not. I'll be honest, I can't really explain why that is, but I just accept it because it's still a nice knife. I'm not as smart with the knife information as I'd like to be, but I know a couple things. So, one of the great things about GEC, and to be honest, one of the original reasons why I started buying them, is because of that pinned-in shield, which is just a lot better than the glue on the case knives, in my opinion. If you're okay with that, you know, I could honestly care less if you know, like glue or pins. I don't think anybody would argue against that. The pinning is nicer. It's just whether or not you can tolerate glue in your knife, and I will still use a glued-in shield. I feel more comfortable with the pin, you know. So that's just my 2 cents. It's not really a big deal. This is a Whittler, and it was a pretty nice knife for me. I used it for I don't know how many months, but one of my favorite little 3-bladed knives, and I still use it occasionally, but I've moved on to some other things, so put that aside. We'll move on to the Trapper. So after I decided to make a new purchase, I went to the red picked bone Schrade made, well, not Schrade made, it's made by GEC, but it says Schrade on it. Just they're designed after the 73s, but they call them the Fire and Ice Trapper. 3 3/4 inches. I mean, it's the same thing. As you'll quickly notice, it resembles Northfield, the Northfield line Great Eastern Cutlery knives, because it first of all, it's got the lines in the bolsters, and this one, I think they're all serialized to my knowledge, but I haven't seen it without a serialized number. I have 295, and it's got the mirror polish on the blade. That's the ways it resembles Northfield, as well as the quality. This is a really high quality knife. Listen to the snap on that. I mean, I don't know how the camera will pick up the sound, but it's got a nice hard snap when you open and close it, so I like that. And it's got the strong half stops. A little smoother clip blade. I'm not sure the technical name for it, but it's not as you know, defined as the clip blade on right there. Second blade on this knife is a spade blade, which not really my favorite style blade to use. I mean, I'll be honest, I can't think of anything I really use the spade blade for, so I just prefer the clip blades. Go ahead and check out the jigging on the bone, hand on the scales. I seem to gravitate toward the red scales. The jigging, I'll be honest with you, is not my favorite, but this knife is cheaper than the 73s by Northfield, Tidiute, or Great Eastern, or whatever. And I kind of like not having the rear bolster. They're getting a little more harder to find with the main brands. That shield is pinned in, so you don't have to worry about them cutting corners on the contracting series of knives. And it's, you know, I mean, if it didn't say Schrade on it, you probably wouldn't know the difference, unless you were really avid knife collector. So you can buy this knife with the quality of the Northfield line. And you know what, the Northfield and Tidiute, they're really the same quality. It's just they put a little more detail into the finishing of the Northfields, like the lined or pinch bolsters, as well as the mirror finish on the shields. This one has the Match Striker pulls, as you can see, which, I mean, I can't think of any like cool reason to have them, but I guess they're just there to be nice. I don't know the real reason besides striking matches in the old days. Everything on this knife is just, this is one of the exceptions. It's pretty flawless. It's flawless, in fact. And good work knife for the price. So got on my knife buying website and I saw the Huckleberry boys knives, and I decided I needed to get myself a some sort of a jackknife because they're really cool. And I kind of missed having a pin blade because I used to have an old Case Stockman with a pin blade on it, and I used it for everything. And then since then I got, well, I'll be honest, I broke it because I'm an idiot. So since my life since then, I haven't had a pen blade, which I've really missed. So honestly, the fact that this has a pen blade on it was one of the deciding factors in buying this knife. Well, it may sound dumb to you, but I just really wanted a pen blade. If you'll check out the swedge, the satin finish blade, and the long pull, it's just a really nice clip blade right there. And this knife actually came in today, so I haven't had a lot of time to use it. It's kind of thick. It's kind of a thicker blade for a 3.5-inch jackknife, but I guess that kind of surprised me. Its springs on this are probably about 4 or 5 in that range. This knife, I don't know if I said it earlier, the springs are probably like 7 or probably an 8 when I got them, a 6 or 7 now that I've oiled and used it. So we've got the nice clip blade and the nice snap when you close it. Shoot, my nails are short, sorry about that. Having a little trouble getting that pen blade out. It's kind of a longer pen blade than the old case knife that I was used to, which is fine because it still functions the same way, and I just always like that to be my secondary blade. I don't know about what you guys think, but when you buy the 2-bladed Huckleberry knife, I mean, I just call it a jack. I mean, I might get some objection to calling it just a jackknife, but I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It doesn't have the rear bolster on the ones with the clip blade, which I thought was kind of cool, you know. The ones with the spear blade, those look cool with the rear bolster, but I just prefer having a clip blade to use. Never really was a big fan of the main spear blade. So, nice half stops on all these knives. Like I said, the Wharncliffe on the Geppetto does not have a half stop, but the secondary blades do. There are no brass liners on this knife. Check that out. So it's kind of like mixing old school and new school for your knife making, which I thought was neat. So I can't say a whole lot about this knife. First impression, I'm blown out of the water, but I haven't had a chance to use it yet. So if you hadn't tried Great Eastern Cutlery yet, shoot. If you haven't had a GEC experience yet, wait no longer, because these are like, man, they're addicting. I tell you what, definitely going to own more GECs in my future. Maybe I'll branch out into the other, you know, Queen or Shad Morgan. They seem nice, but I'm just right now stuck on GEC. I mean, I used to be a Case fan, but I don't know if I already said this. After I got my whittler, you know, I just kind of forgot about Case pretty quickly. I have a Tony Bowes sow belly in ebony wood and a trapper lock with the red scales, red bone scales, and I think that about does it for my other Case knives. But you know, these are just cool. This is my current user. I'm going to try to get my use out of it. I'm not real happy about buying knives and then, you know, not using them, so I try to get my use out of these. I didn't get as much use out of this one because it was just a little big for my personal taste, but 73, if you were thinking about that pattern, I would say you would be fine to carry it because it's not like it's bulky. I just prefer like a 3.5 inch knife. That's my personal preference, but I mean, there's really not that big of a size difference. You see, this just sticks out a little bit. It's a lot thicker because of the blades being so big. High quality knives right here. Don't be one of those people that just sticks to Case knives. I was one of those people, and I branched out, and I have not regretted it except for probably my checking account. Not so happy, but you know, that's alright. So, thanks for sticking around, guys. That's my fault. See ya.